Hey, what's up guys? David here from Dignited. Today I want to show you how you can learn how to code as a complete beginner using ChatGPT. Alright, let's get into it. Alright, if you're a complete beginner to coding, there are several places that you can learn where to code. You can use YouTube. YouTube has an enormous amount of material that you can use to learn how to code for free. You can buy a book that delves into a particular topic. You can sign up to a bootcamp where you can also learn how to code. You can opt for paid for courses online. There are several of those where you can learn how to code. But since last year, now you have another option, and that is ChatGPT. So ChatGPT has taken the world by storm. It's a generative AI that can do lots and lots of things, including writing blog posts, helping you write emails. It can help you write a CV, a cover letter, a resume. It can help you write social media content and so many other things. And it's also very, very good at writing code. So I just want to explore the tool and see if this is something that you can actually use to write code. So if you don't already have an account with ChatGPT, simply go to chat.openai.com, create an account using your email, and you're good to go. So ChatGPT has both the free and paid for version. The free version is a bit limited in terms of the prompts that you can send per day, but it's really good enough, at least for this purpose. So I'm using the free version of ChatGPT here, and you probably used it before, you probably haven't, but what you have here is a text box with a prompt, and this is where you enter such queries, or here they're called prompts, that can help you get what you want. All right, so I'm just going to let ChatGPT guide us through this journey of learning how to code, and you just kind of talk to it like you would a normal person. So I'm going to ask it to help us create a roadmap for a beginner interested in learning how to code. All right, so can you help me create a roadmap for a beginner? Okay, interested in learning how to code today. All right, so let's see what ChatGPT is saying. It's saying choose a programming language. Begin by selecting a programming language to focus on. The popular options include Python, JavaScript, Ruby. So Python is recommended for readability and versatility. Then it says learn the basics. Familiarize yourself with the fundamental concepts of programming, such as variables, data types, operators, loops, and conditionals, as well as functions. Then it says practice with small projects. Okay, so start coding small projects to reinforce your understanding. It could be something as simple as a calculator, a text-based game, a basic website, and so forth. Then it says explore online resources, so you can utilize tutorials, documentation specific to a chosen programming language. And it recommends sites like W3 Schools, which is very popular, Mozilla Developer Network, which is also quite popular, as well as Stack Overflow. Then it recommends join coding communities, and you have several of those online, including GitHub, Reddit, Discord, and so forth. Then build a portfolio. As you gain confidence, start working on more complex projects. Create a portfolio to showcase your work and demonstrate your skills to potential employees and collaborators. Okay. Then learn version control. Git is a popular version control system used by developers, so you can learn that to track changes in your code, collaborate with others, and also easily revert to previous versions when needed. Expand your knowledge, work in real-world projects, and then learn continuously and stay curious. So these are really pointers for anyone who is really starting out how to code, and this is quite a very good roadmap if you ask me. Okay, so supposing we chose a programming language like it recommended, let's say JavaScript, which is quite popular. We can ask it to tell us what are the fundamental concepts in JavaScript, and we can ask it to use code snippets where necessary. Okay. All right, so we have our output here. Some fundamental concepts that you should be familiar with include variables, data types, operators, control flow, functions, and objects. So it says let's go through some of the concepts. So concept one, variables. Variables are used to store and manipulate data. In JavaScript, you can declare variables using var or let or const keywords. And here's an example. So now you have a code snippet here that illustrates the concepts. Var age 25, let name be John, and then const is pi, which is 3.14. Okay, then you have data types. JavaScript has built-in data types including numbers, strings, booleans, arrays, and objects. And then it gives us some of the examples in a code snippet. As you can see, here we have a number, age 25. Here we have a string, name, let John, with quotes here. Here you have a boolean, is student is equal to true, is a boolean. And then we have an array here of fruits, apple, bananas, oranges. And then you have an object of person with name, the key, then the value, John, key, and then the value, age 25. Then we have operators. JavaScript supports various operators such as arithmetic, assignment, comparison, and logical operators. And here are the examples. So you have an addition operator, you have a subtraction operator here, x minus y, x times y is multiplication, x, this is a slash, y is a division operator. And then you have several other comparison operators here. This is the greater than sign. This is the equal sign right here. You have logical AND with an upstand, and then you have the OR operator here. Then you come to flow control. Flow control allows you to control the execution of your code based on certain conditions. So common control flow constructs include if statements, for loops, while loops, and the switch. And we have a code snippet here to illustrate. We start with the age 18. If the age is greater than or equal to 18, we console log or we print out you are an adult, else you are a minor. And then we have a for loop here. Okay, var I is equal to 1, and then I is less or equal to 5, and then we increment, and then we print. Okay. And then we have a while loop here, and then we have a switch statement here. Okay, and then we have functions. What are functions? That allow you to encapsulate reusable blocks of code. You can define functions and call them as needed. And here is an example. We have a function here called say hello. It takes in a name, and then it prints out hello, the name that you passed in. So if you called it with John, it says hello John. And then we have a function that adds numbers here, and then another that sums up the numbers. Then we have objects are used to represent complex data structures. They consist of properties, key value pairs, and methods or functions. And here's an example of an object called person here. Okay, here's the key, here's the value, which is John, and then here's the key, age, value 25, and here is a function here, say hello. Okay, and it has a function that prints out hello, my name is, based on the name here. Okay, so these are the fundamentals in JavaScript here, and ChatGPT has illustrated the basic concepts. Now, if you don't really understand a particular concept, you can let ChatGPT elaborate more and give you further explanation into that particular concept. Maybe we want to understand how a switch statement works in JavaScript, so just copy it and tell it to explain the following code line by line. Okay, so you're a complete beginner, you don't really know what this is all about, so you ask it to explain what it is. Okay, all right, so here's the breakdown. As you can see, it's very, very elaborate and very detailed, and it's really in a very simple language. This is one of the best features about ChatGPT. It's quite elaborate and it's very expressive, and it explains like you're a total novice. Okay, so we have here the breakdown, starting with this upper statement here, switch, and then bracket, day bracket, and then we have this curly brackets, and it says that the switch statement begins with keyword switch followed by the expression or variable to be evaluated, in this case day. Okay, then we have case Monday. The case keyword is followed by a value, a condition that will be compared to the expression given in the switch statement. If the value matches the expression, the code block following the case will be executed. Yes, and then we have here console.log, it's Monday. If the value of the day is equal to Monday, this line will be executed and it will print the string it's a Monday to the console. Okay, and then we have break here. The break statement is used to exit the switch block once the match is found. It prevents the code from falling through the next case. So we have here different cases here, okay, of our days, and if we have a match, okay, then that block of the code is run and the interpreter exits out of that switch block. So this is what it's explaining, and it goes further. It goes to the next line. It says exactly the same thing. The case statement checks if the value of the day is equal to Tuesday, and if it's a Tuesday, it prints it's a Tuesday right here, and then it breaks out of the block if the match is found. So you have some really good explanations here, very patient. It's like having a tutor or a teacher who is very patient with you and explains concepts to you without you feeling stupid. This is the feeling I get out of this. So this is really awesome. Okay, so now that we have our code here, then how can we run it? How can we execute it? Okay, where can we write it? So we can ask ChatGPT to tell us where can I write code and run it. Okay, right, so here we go. Okay, so there are multiple ways to run and to write and run JavaScript code. Here are a few options. We start with the browser console. You can open the developer tools in your web browser, usually by right-clicking on the web page and selecting inspect and navigating to the console tab. There you can directly type and execute JavaScript code snippets. This is useful for quick testing and implementation. So here you go. You start with a browser. You also have a text editor and a browser. You can write JavaScript code in a text editor such as Notepad++ or Sublime Text or Visual Studio Code, and save the file with a .html extension. Write the HTML structure around your code using the HTML tags, head and body tags, then open the HTML file in the web browser. Then it gives us a sample HTML file here with JavaScript code in the script tags here. So that's the other way. And another way is to use online code editors. There are several online code editors that allow you to write and run JavaScript code directly on your browser without setting up a local development environment. So some of the popular options include CodePen, and you have a URL here, codepen.io, JSFido, and you have it here, jsfido.net, and then Replit. So you can actually visit some of these applications. Okay, so this is CodePen here, best place to build, test, and discover front-end code. Okay, and you also have JSFido here, and here you go. So this looks quite straightforward here. Okay, and we have Replit. Okay, there you go. Okay, so assuming we get to go with JSFido, I'm just going to get our JavaScript code here. Okay, and then we run it and see what we have. Okay, so we have HTML and JavaScript. So I could just type in JavaScript here, and then I guess I just have to click on run. Okay, so here it has run. Okay, so you have that as an option, but it also said that we can execute it in the web browser, and I just want to show you how. and here it says open developer options in your browser, and then right click on any web page and then inspect, and then you run console. So this is a new tab, inspect. Okay, come to console here, paste in your code right here, and then simply enter. Okay, and we have exactly the same thing. It prints out it's Monday, so the code has actually run. You also have the option of using code editors, and the most popular is really Visual Studio Code, which is free and very, very robust. So you can Google it and come here. It's code.visualstudio.com. Download it depending on your operating system. They have for Mac, Windows, and Linux. It's by Microsoft, and I think it's the most popular code editor by developers today. So you can download it and then run it. Okay, you can ask ChatGPT to generate specific code. So for instance, imagine we are learning HTML and CSS. You can ask it to write a sample web page, okay, that's about the life of cats using HTML, and style it, okay, using CSS. Okay, after show me how to run it. Okay, there you go. So it has generated for us the code right here. Okay, here's an example of a sample web page about the life of cats using HTML and CSS. So we have index.html. Here is the file name, and here is the code right here. Okay, and remember, we can always copy the code by clicking on this. Okay, we're going to do that later. So now here's the instructions. It says create a new folder on your computer and name it something like Life of Cats. So let me just create it here on my desktop. Life of Cats. Okay, I've created it. Now save the above HTML code in a file named index.html inside the folder. Okay, I'm just going to open it. I'm going to copy our code here. I guess I'm just going to paste it on a code editor. Remember the code editors that it suggested Sublime Text, which I have here. So I'm just going to paste the code and then save it as index.html. And I'm just going to choose the location here as okay, desktop, and here Life of Cats. Okay, yeah, it is saved. Okay, and then it says download an image of a cat and save it as cat.jpg. So I'm just going to go to Unsplash and get some free images there. Okay, of a cat. So I'm just going to search for cat. Okay, this one looks good. Download for free. Okay, here you go. That's downloaded. So I'm just going to come here to downloads and get that little cat there, and then paste it here and just rename it cat.jpg as instructed by ChatGPT. And then open the Life of Cats folder and double click on the index.html file. Okay, so here we go. Just double click on that, and there you go. It looks really gorgeous and very, very easy. So this whole web page has been created by ChatGPT. Follow the instructions, and this is what you have. So Life of Cats, here's the header, here's the image, very gorgeous one, and then here's the description. Cats are fascinating creatures, of course. They are known for their independence, agility, and grace. Cats have been domesticated for thousands of years and have become popular pets around the world, yada yada yada. So now we can you can now go and read through your code here and just see. So here's the heading, represented by H1, Life of Cats, and here's the image represented by the image tag. Okay, with the source cat.jpg is the file, and then here are paragraph tags. So I'm explaining the code because I understand HTML, and here is our styling, but you can actually ask ChatGPT to explain the code to you. Here's a brief explanation. The CSS styles are defined in the style tags. Okay, see this angle bracket style, close angle bracket, with the head section of the HTML file will be applied to the elements of the page, such as the font, color, layout, and image styling. And here you go, here's the styling. Okay, as you can see, you have the color here, you have the font here defined by the font family, and then a little bit of the styling here. So this is all CSS here defined by this tag here in the header section of the HTML page. And then that's it. You have created and run a sample web page. That's about the life of cat. You can modify your HTML and CSS code to further customize the page according to your preferences. So if you really want to understand, you can go ahead and ask it, for example, what is, like you can see this div tag here. What is that? Okay, so here's an elaborate explanation. In HTML, the div element is a container or division used to group and organize other HTML elements together. It stands for division and it's one of the most commonly used elements in the layout process. Okay, so here's an example of a div element that is used. So you have it here and it's used to organize other HTML elements. So you can go ahead and even ask, what are HTML elements? Okay. All right, it says HTML elements are building blocks of a web page. They are individual components that make up the structure and the content of a web page. HTML elements are represented by tags, which are enclosed in angle brackets. You see these angle brackets? Each HTML element has a specific purpose and has a defined structure and behavior. Some HTML elements include heading, paragraphs, images, links, lists, forms, tables, and more. So we have an illustration of that. You can see we have lists here, we have image HTML elements, we have paragraph HTML elements, heading HTML elements, we have the form HTML element, we have the table here, and you see how elaborate the thing is. It really goes down, drills it down, and explains to you what HTML elements are and their corresponding tags, right? Yeah, so if you really want to go deep, you can just keep drilling it down until you really understand the concept. And this is the beauty about ChatGPT. Anyone can learn to code using the thing all by yourself. And the beauty is you have like a tutor, an AI tutor that explains concepts to the nitty-gritty. And that's, for me, amazing. I've been coding for more than 10 years, but I've never seen anything like this. So here we go. What is the difference between this and the other options that I talked about of how to learn how to code? What's the difference between this and YouTube, or buying a book, or enrolling for a boot camp? What is the difference really? I think the difference here is you have an elaborate teacher. You have an AI teacher that explains concepts to the nitty-gritty. For me, that's the difference. So I think I would still recommend that you enroll in a bootcamp or a YouTube tutorial, because a tutorial is going to give you structure. An experienced developer is going to teach you from A to Z, right? With structure. This is how you start. This is the next thing. After this, you go to this. Now, ChatGPT is not exactly giving us a structure. I know it did at the beginning here, okay? But you might still need a much more elaborate structure. And for that, I would recommend roadmap.sh, okay? This website is really good. It has multiple roadmaps of how do you learn to be, for example, a front-end developer, or a back-end developer, a DevOps, and all that. So when you click on a particular roadmap, then you have these different stages. Okay, you learn what the internet is, HTML, and these are the basics of HTML that you should know. CSS, you have CSS here. JavaScript, okay, these are the concepts that you should know. Version control, Git, and ChatGPT mentioned some of these things, but now you have some good structure here: package managers, CSS architecture, build tools, linters, and so forth. And you also have the recommendations here, alternative options, and then some things that maybe are not recommended. Okay, yeah. So if you're into it, you can just get one topic here, enter it in ChatGPT, and ChatGPT is probably going to give you an in-depth study. Okay, so that is the difference. But of course, once you get the basics, now, yeah, here's the tool. You can just get into a particular topic, and you can use it to generate code, refactor code. Refactoring code is improving code. You can get a piece of code and tell ChatGPT, improve on this code, or explain this line of code. I don't understand what it is. Explain to me what it does. And ChatGPT will be quite willing to do that for you. Alright guys, if you found value in this video, go ahead and give us a like, subscribe to the channel, okay, and ring the bell icon so you don't miss out on future videos. Otherwise, I'll see you guys in the next one.